Just a huge transfer announcement here. David Stone went in the transfer portal, former 5-star plus defensive tackle. He left Oklahoma, and within 36 hours, he was back at Oklahoma. I mean, Jay Smith, Locked On Sooners. What are we doing here? Is this NIL leveraging at its finest? What happened?
It's bananas how the story kind of went down. We got it on a Friday night news dump, 8:40 something Central Time. So it was late for us, early for you, but it was late. So it was one of those like, who's going to cover this? So me and John, of course, went live on Locked On Sooners. We recorded, talked about it. And it sounds like there was some things that was disgruntled in the situation. But the good thing that happened is things got squashed. Well, I saw a report over on 3. Pete Nakos went on with the Inside Scoop, and he basically said that it did not sound like it was an issue with playing time, internal things. It was some external factors that came up that caused this entire ruckus. Those external factors, I don't know. You can search on the good old expert, and it'll tell you all kinds of conspiracy theories, but I'm going to be respectful and say it's some external situations. Well, it sounds like they figured it out. Sounds like David Stone did not want to leave. It sounded like some other things kind of made him have to go explore options. He didn't really explore them, and he came back Easter Sunday. So he went in. 3 days later, he rose back. Gotta love it, right?
That was an intentional use of the word rose back, wasn't it? That was, he's not accidental, folks. He's not accidental whatsoever. I mean, I think when most people hear external factors, Jay, they think he wanted a bigger NIL deal. And, some people, Nico, are not able to find a bigger NIL deal when they go elsewhere. Some people realize, the grass is not actually greener over there. Now, the reason that you and I had first touched base about this is that David Stone entering the portal, not just because of his recruiting profile, but because of what his timeline for playing time is looking like with that Oklahoma defense, was going to be is going to be now a pretty significant role. Like, it came as a shock to most people, myself included. I'm going, wait. David Stone just got there. What do you mean he's in the transfer portal? It was giving me Williams Nwaneri vibes, who transferred away from Missouri after 1 year. But this is, based on what you've told me, a pretty important piece for Oklahoma to have coming back.
He's an Oklahoma kid. He's from Dale City, Oklahoma, which is in the Oklahoma City Metroplex, just up the street, roughly 30 minutes from the University of Oklahoma. He's Sooner born, Sooner bred. He said, when I die, I'll be Sooner dead. Just one of the main statements that Sooner fans say. He is through and through a Sooner. And so when that happened, it felt like a knee-jerk reaction, like a panic type situation. And it could have been an NIL leverage portion, but it could also been just a kid freaking out about something and wanted to, like I said, external factors, and he jumped in there. The good thing is that he's back. That's all that matters. He is a key component for Oklahoma, too. I mean, think about it. Like I said, 5-star plus, one of the top players in the country coming out. Everybody wanted him. Miami was already licking their chops. They had that Birdman going. They're like, Stone's back in the portal? Let's get our money together. I mean, they just lost Horton that just bounced to Georgia. So they obviously need reinforcements on the defensive line, and Stone could have been a really good multi-year piece. Oklahoma saw the exact same thing. This is the year we expect for him to break out, because last season his partner from IMG Academy, Jaden Jackson, became a freshman All-American. He stepped into the role, already had the weight, and boom, shown out. So we know that David Stone has the potential. They worked great together. Now he needs to show it. And so Oklahoma did not want to have a situation. Jim Nagy, the general manager, said he didn't want a situation like Nico. This feels like a situation like Nico, but based upon what I've been told, it's not. It's more of a young kid panicking about something. I don't know what, but it's something. But Oklahoma figured out a way to get him taken care of. Maybe they gave him more money. Maybe they gave him more money up front. Maybe they adjusted things for July when the house settlement hits. I don't know. We haven't gotten any full details, but it sounds like he is now satisfied. His people are now satisfied, and they're ready to go into next year and make something happen.
So you mentioned Jim Nagy, the general manager, who we've discussed on this show previously. Do you think there was a heavy influence there? Because, I mean, the biggest example of a GM impacting a program is Andrew Luck at Stanford. That's the biggest example so far where he comes in and says, yeah, we're not dealing with anything external for Troy Taylor here. Thanks for your time, but we're ushering you out the door. But we are seeing GMs all over the place start to pop up. You talk about Ron Rivera at Cal. You talk about his name's eluding me right
Lombardi
now.
at North Carolina.
That's certainly one of them. But USC hired a general manager from Notre Dame. He's making a big impact over there. So is this, you feel like something where Nagy stepped in and said, yeah, no, we want to keep this kid. This is not someone you want to just walk out the door?
It sounds like it's a combination of Nagy, Brent Venables, and Ty Bates, because if there's one thing that has been said about David Stone internally and externally is the dude is beloved. He works his butt off. He takes this very seriously. And when he hit in the portal, I heard that some of the players were advocating to the staff to say, hey, whatever he needs, we don't have a problem with you giving it to him. Please take care of him. Take care of David Stone. So that means that there was, like I said, there's got to be something bigger here that his teammates know about, because they were pushing for him to come out of the portal, to come back and be on the roster. That's how beloved he is. So it's obvious that Nagy came in, stepped in and said, okay, let's assess this entire situation and see what exactly is the problem, and let's find us a true solution. And the beauty of it is the maturity of a David Stone saying, I don't want to leave, so yeah, let's sit down and have this conversation. I really wish it never escalated to this point, but at the same time, we also dealing with 18-year-olds, right? I mean, he's 18, probably 19 now. We're dealing with kids. They kind of make a knee-jerk reaction. They do something, and then they step back and be like, okay, should I have done it that way? Should I have made this decision? Should I have stood on business this way? Maybe I should have stood on business that way. You learn quick when you get young and you as you grow up and you get that experience. So it feels like that's kind of what happened. They came back to the table. He went in the portal Friday night. They had a meeting on Saturday morning, and it sounds like they've been hashing things out all of Saturday into today. And then David Stone put out there that he was withdrawing from the portal, and then of course all the national stuff happened. So it sounds like maturity happened for him. He was willing to come sit down and have a good effort to actually get something done. And now Oklahoma Sooners kind of won a big deal with this by getting him back.
Something that exists in the NFL and hasn't made its way to college football yet, though it's slowly kind of drip, drip, drip permeating throughout the sport. It hasn't seeped into the carpet yet, but you're close to wanting to put a bucket over there with where this idea is at. When you have a situation like this, Jay, where there's a public discussion about this guy's leaving, doesn't want to go, he wants to do this and all that, does it raise the expectation level for that individual player in the eyes of the fan base or the coaching staff? Because when a guy signs as a free agent in the NFL and he gets a big contract, or if he, holds out, for instance, which is kind of what this is the college version of holding out of sort for more money. When you finally start playing, what do fans do? Anytime you struggle, it's, well, wait a minute, you held out and you're playing like this. Do you think that's where David Stone is now?
I think David Stone was already there being a 5-star plus. He's one of the few that Oklahoma has been able to land over the last couple of years since Brent Venables has been here, because Oklahoma has played in the NIL game, but they've also wanted to make sure they're going after guys that are willing to put in the work to go along with paying them the money. And they're very strategic about that. It may not be the way everybody does it or want to do it, but the hardest part about recruiting is that you are recruiting potential, and you have to hope that kids will actually give you the production. And so with Stone, I don't think this adds any additional pressure. I think he's already had the pressure because he's a 5-star plus. He is supposed to be starting. His counterpart, Jaden Jackson, was a 3-star recruit when he first got signed, when he first committed to Oklahoma, and then he moved up to 4-star depending on the recruiting services, became a freshman All-American. That can lean on you too, right? That's something that you see it. You're standing next to the dude. We were next to each other at IMG Academy, and this dude ended up a freshman All-American, and I got like 94 snaps. What's going on? So now the pressure's already been on him to make sure that he does the production he needs, because, as you mentioned, with Jim Nagy and a lot of these general managers, they're assessing the talent, and they're trying to figure out if the pay matches the production. If it doesn't, some people are seeing pay cuts. They're seeing a little bit of a haircut because of this House settlement coming down the line. So for them, it's we're going to cut you down. We're going to make you more incentive based starting July 1 because we can now do that with rev share. You're going to have to produce. And I think David Stone has that idea in his mind, and he's going to go out there and try to make that happen.